Hello everyone, this is Anomaly for another hopefully informative session on finance, the $5 Journey. Pick up the book. I'm the writer of the $5 Journey, and the whole reason for the $5 Journey is basically it's setting up a series of strategies that hopefully the everyday working class person can actually put to use, implement, and see some sort of progress financially down the road. All right. Today I really just want to talk about something. It's really simple as far as the word. It's a four-letter word. No, it's nothing bad. But sometimes it's just very difficult to actually get going with. It's something called a plan. Okay, PLAN. All right. So it's a plan. And really, what a plan is you kind of figuring out where you want to be, what you want to do, the long term. You know, maybe it's a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. Maybe it is a 20-year plan. Maybe you are planning for retirement. Maybe you are planning for a vacation. Okay, so with a plan, the only real way to actually make sure that this happens, that the plan happens, is you need something else. That something is strategy. Okay, so you can't really. It's going to be really. Let me not say you can't, but it's really tough to execute a plan, to carry it out, to see it actually come to pass if you don't have a strategy. And that is one of the things that the $5 Journey, the book, offers. It offers a strategy. Also, tune into to my Facebook channel, my Facebook page rather, and also my Twitter, because on there, besides in the book, you know, on there and of course on YouTube, I list different strategies, different things that just an average person can do. This stuff is some of the things that I'm talking about are things that it's not really so much for the wealthy. It's not really so much for the upper 0.1% or even 1%. This is stuff for just the average working individual, the person making $30,000 a year, $20,000 a year, $15,000 a year, $30,000, $40,000 a year, whatever. These are things that you can implement to help get you to the next level financially. Okay, remember, in the $5 Journey, we start out with just $5, just $5 a day. All right, I know sometimes it seems like a lot, but in there's strategies to move you from making, not only putting in $5 a day, but getting up to $500 per week. All right. Now, one of the things I really want to talk about, there's this article in AARP.com or AARP magazine. You can go to either one and see the article. I will actually load the article to my Twitter. Okay, I'll load it to my Twitter and also to my Facebook, so check it out there. But in the article, it's written by Carolyn O'Hara, and in it, she's talking about basically what the person who is average making $40,000 a year, what he or she needs to actually retire. The number that they have in the article says $1.18 million you will need in order to retire on average. So you're going to need about $1.18 million in your savings, in your IRA, your retirement account, your 401k, 403b, whatever it may be. Now, here's the numbers, just stats. All right, anywhere from 60 to 65% of Americans will crumble if there is a $1,000 emergency. All right, so that means 60 to 65% of Americans would not be able to I guess kind of resolve the issue if there was a $1,000 emergency. I mean, it would totally wipe them out. Okay, so that says to me that a lot of people aren't going to be able to finish up with that $1.18 million that they need when it's time to retire. All right, so part of the plan, and you know what? I know a lot of times people talk about retirement and things like that, and that's I'm just setting that as a benchmark. Nothing against retirement. I mean, I hope to retire and to have a good amount saved and that sort of thing, and be able to live comfortably, myself, my family. But how about now? Okay, what are your plans? What are your goals now? All right, we can definitely start with retirement. So according to AARP, right, you're going to need about $1.18 million in order to retire. All right, and to get that, that's if you're making $40,000 a year. So this $1.18 million are for people who are making $40,000 a year or less. If you're making $50,000 or $60,000 a year, obviously this amount is going to be higher. It's definitely going to be higher. How close are you to having this amount in your account? If 60 to 65% of Americans are not even able to make it for a $1,000 emergency, most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know how feasible this number is, okay? So, I hate to be all doom and gloom, but this is just something to keep in mind, all right? Now, in the $5 journey, there are, like I said, there's strategies that are laid out. Okay, a strategy is, let's see, think about a plan or a goal as where you want to end up, all right? The strategy, or the strategies, plural, are the vehicle that are going to drive you to that destination. They're going to take you to that destination. Okay, so if you were planning let's say you were planning a trip, you want to go to Disney World or something like that, or let's say you want to go see the Grand Canyon, any one of those places, right? Pick a place. Okay, and what you need to do is you need to figure out, okay, well, number one, how are we going to get there? Are we going to drive there? Are we going to fly there? Are we going to walk there? Are we going to ride our bikes? Or are we going to, how are we going to get there? So, one thing is figuring out your mode of transportation, right? Another thing is going to be, you want to figure out how much money you need to actually get there. Okay, well, if we're going to drive there, if we're going to drive out to Disney World and we live out in Maine, we have to figure out how much tolls we're going to have to pay on the way there. We have to figure out how much gas we're going to need. We're going to figure out, okay, well, when we get there, we're going to need some place to sleep, okay? Unless you got a trailer or something like that. But for everyone else, you got to figure out what you're going to do when you get there as far as accommodation. So you have to figure out how much the cost of the hotel is, or how much the cost of the resort is going to be. Okay, so you have to come up with a strategy in order to execute the plan of getting to Disney World, right, in Florida, or Disneyland in California. All right, so that's kind of what a strategy is. A strategy is the vehicle that you're going to use, the means that which you're going to use, the method that you're going to use to actually get to your final destination, to get to your plan, to get to your goal. Okay, so that's really what it is. All right, and I mean, sometimes we say goal. I like to say plan, but you can actually switch this out for goal. But either one, whatever word you want to use, you need a strategy in order to get there. Okay, like I said, a lot of us, we're not going to be able to make this $1.18 million according to our present situation. So some of the things that we talk about is in the $5 journey is getting you to a point where you're getting $500 per week. All right, and you're investing that. Okay, you're investing that. So that $500 a week is using compound interest, right? And then we also introduce another principle in another video that I did. Also, it's on Facebook, and I think I put it on Twitter also, of compound hustle. Okay, so that's taking the knowledge, the expertise, the experience that you actually have from maybe something else, along with your 9 to 5 or your business or whatever, combining that and adding additional revenues into the compound interest. Okay, so with the $5 journey, so let's say once you get to that $500 per week goal, right? What that actually comes to, it comes out to roughly $2,167 per month of investment. Okay. Now, most of the investments that I've recommended, and again, I am not a financial planner. I am not a stock analyst. I am not an accountant or anything like that. I'm just a guy who's done a few things and has done a few things right. Actually, done a whole lot of things wrong, but done a few things right, and someone who cares. All right. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. I am not being endorsed or receiving a paycheck from any sort of financial institution for this information. Okay, so you guys already know mutual funds, there's stock, there's real estate, there's all kinds of other things that will give you that compound interest. But let's go at a rate of 7%. Okay? All right? There's our little @ sign, 7%. Now, once you get to this point where you are able to invest $2,167 per month, and again, this is from that $500 per week mark that we kind of set in the book. $500 per week, you multiply 500 times 52 weeks in a year, right? Divided by 12, this is about what you get, okay? And it's at a compound interest rate of 7%, all right? Now, over the course of, let's say, 20 years, 7% is going to give you approximately $1.13 million. All right? Okay. So, that's just off of our compound interest. Remember though, the $5 journey, it's only the beginning, all right? So we start with compound interest, some strategies to get you to this point, $2,167 per month, $500 per week, right? Investing at 7% again. All right, just that alone is going to give you $1.13 million in 20 years, all right? In 20 years. Now, remember though, we have something called compound hustle that we also work with. So there are strategies that are laid out in the $5 Journey, the book, and also on Facebook, Twitter, the YouTube stuff, that you guys are gonna read about, see about, listen to, all right? And that compound hustle is going to do more with this $1.3 million, all right? So adding the compound hustle to things, all right, is not only going to make this amount increase per month, but it's going to make this amount increase over the course of while you're working and everything. So obviously if you're retiring in 30 years, this will be a lot more, because compound interest has its real effect over time, okay? Compound hustle obviously feeds into compound interest, right? But it also places a kind of a here and now effect on all of this stuff too. So, the here and now would be $500 per week or $5 per day, however you want to look at it, all right? But adding that compound hustle to things will, let's say you're at the $5 per day kind of mark. It's going to increase the $5 per day up to eventually $500 per week. You're going to continue with your compound hustle and of course your compound interest, all right? And that $500 a week is going to increase to $1,000 per week. All right, you're going to continue on. That $1,000 per week is going to increase to $2,000 per week, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now for all the naysayers, the unbelievers, okay, I just want to give this one example, and then I'm going to get out of your way, okay, and you guys can go about enjoying your day. All right, so I went to this seminar, and it was kind of like one of those seminars where they bring in different experts and they talk about nutrition, they talk about health, they talk about your sleeping habits, they talk about what kind of exercise regimen you should have and that kind of thing. All right, so they kind of do everything. They talk about like your mental and emotional well-being. They talk about all those kinds of things. It was really good. It was like a 2-day kind of thing. All right, so I went there, And before that, I had really just been into doing exercising, but into doing just cardiovascular stuff. So running, kickboxing, martial arts, that kind of thing. Maybe weights here and there. But one of the trainers said, well, you really got to get into do a little bit more for your weight, because for weight training, because as you get older, what happens is your bone density starts increasing, so you become more fragile. All right, and when you get to be 60, 65, 70 years old, you want to be able to walk up a flight of stairs without your bones aching too much. So get in there and start doing some sort of resistance training. You can use weights, you can use bands. So I said, okay, all right, let me give it a try. And I'd never really been one into doing the whole bench press thing, but I said, all right, okay, well, let me try it. I started off with trying to bench press 185 pounds. Now, this was about 2 months ago. And man, I went into the gym and I saw all these other guys. They were, big swole guys, and they were, bench pressing like 300 and something pounds. Some had like 400 pounds going on. And I'm there with my 185 pounds. All right. And what I did was I said, okay, well, I'm obviously very far behind the eight ball with this whole bench press kind of thing, because everybody else in there is benching way more than me. Okay, but I did not focus on what I couldn't do. I didn't focus on the fact that I couldn't do 300 pounds or that I couldn't do bench press 400 pounds. I took, what I could do, all right? I took that 185 pounds, and actually over the last, it took about 2 months to get there, but being consistent with it, doing it over and over again, I'm actually up to being able to bench press 210 pounds now. Okay, and I could work out using 210 pounds. Now, a lot of you may say, oh my gosh, that is so, so weak and everything. Hey, I'm just getting started. It's only been 2 months with this whole bench press thing, okay? So, and you say, okay, well, it's only a 25-pound increase, to the weights over 2 months. That's not that big. But let's look over time, right? This is like your compound interest. Over time, what I'm doing is, besides not focusing on what I can't do, all right? I'm not focusing on what I can't do, focusing on what I can do, all right? And over time, so let's say every 2 months, I'm going up and I'm increasing up in by weight and by about 25 pounds. Well, so what that means is that, so that's every 2 months, right? You divide 12 months in a year by 2, that gives you 6 times. So over the next year, according to at this rate, all right, I will have increased the amount of weight that I can bench press by well over 300 pounds. Okay, so now that's to go from 185 pounds to over 300 pounds, right? That's way more than a 50% increase. Okay, so it's that kind of thing. You start off small. You start off with $5 a day and you build up to $500 per week. You build up to $1,000 per week. You build up to $2,000 per week, $5,000 per week. So you build those things up over time. All right. So your plan of being able to retire, or being able to just live now, do those things that you want to do now. Go to vacation now, not have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck now. All right. That can increase with compound hustle. All right. And it's going to start off small, but it's going to keep going up and up and up. The important thing is to have a plan in mind. Where do you want to go? And then also, how are you going to get there? What are you going to do? Some of you guys, you have your regular 9-to-5 job, and that's all well and fine. But there's additional stuff. You have additional know-how. Maybe there's classes that you wouldn't mind teaching because you're really into sewing, or you're really into knitting, or you're really into Zumba dancing, or you're really into martial arts, or you're really into weight training, and you can take that knowledge, that know-how, that expertise, that passion that you may have for something else, and you can actually use it to make money. So that's your compound hustle. You're going to take all of that. You're going to take that extra money from your job. You're going to take that extra money from your compound hustle. You're going to apply that, okay, to these compound interest vehicles, all right, to these financial vehicles, and you're going to see a boom in your financial progress. Okay, so remember, just one thing at a time. The important thing is to have the plan and just keep on going, keep on hustling, keep on moving, keep on thinking about not what you can't do, but about what you can do. All right? Signing off from Anomaly, the writer of the $5 Journey. Make sure you leave some comments below, like it if that's your thing. Check me out on Facebook, also on Twitter. I will have a link to that AARP article that I referenced earlier, and that will probably be both in my Facebook and my Twitter. Okay, have a great day. Bye.